Hi. Okay. Somebody asked me to uh, put together just a few tips for how to get through these times right now. Everything that we're seeing in that's happening in the Capitol, that's happening around the world, um, to citizens, to lawmakers, COVID and the death and the loss and the change. There is just a tremendous amount of really hard, painful stuff happening. Um, and I have to admit, as soon as she asked me that, I kind of laughed and thought, absolutely sounds like a great idea as soon as I can figure out how I'm processing it. So it took me a couple of days to get my mind wrapped around what I was trying to do and put some words to it and think about, just almost good practice for how to move through some these hard these hard things. Um, so hopefully this is helpful. The first thing that I think is important is you have to know if you're in a place of what I call sort of defensive posturing. And this is like one of the most common things we all do, right? If we're scared, if we don't know an outcome, if we are confused, if we feel hurt, if there's injustice, if something is happening, we immediately go into sort of a protective mode. That can be positive, depending on how you do it, or it can also be kind of retreating and moving away from people and hiding out. It can look like moving against people in judgment and anger and kind of fighting. It can also look like this sort of appeasing, where you sort of lose yourself in just agreeing to get by, to kind of avoid difficulty. Um, and what I know is that if you find yourself in one of those places, what usually follows are feelings of sadness and anxiety and depression and just not feeling right, right? To feel angry and judgmental or appeasing things to just fit in when you don't believe it, or hiding out in your room to just avoid, doesn't feel good in general. So just knowing that that's happening to you, or that you're sort of engaged in that defensive posturing to just get by, is super important. Okay. The next thing is acknowledge the feelings, name them, uh, speak them, somehow put words to them, and know that they're not crazy, they're not over emotional, they're real, they're valid, and they are okay to be having with this much difficulty going on. Um, the next thing that it's tied into that is to connect with people in your life who um, who can hear you, who can meet you with empathy and not shut you down, who you can speak to and share your feelings and thoughts. That may be family. It may not be, right? It may be friends who have become like family. It may be social groups or networks or clubs or groups that you're a part of. But find that community. Um, the third thing is taking care of yourself. Um, Breathe, take long walks, get playful with the dog and the kids, and creativity falls in this. Get exercise, sleep, eat well, take care of your body. Your body has to also release the stress that builds up. It's not enough to sort of have to remove a barrier or to cognitively get something. Your body has to kind of flush the stress out. So find a way to do that in your life. Um, the next thing that I think about a lot is, right now in particular, is having a media plan. It is good to be informed, but sometimes it's way too much. So know your limits. Cut it down if you can feel yourself, but just feeling enraged half of the time or being consumed and not being able to focus on anything. Cut it down, limit it, maybe get off completely if you need to. You can gauge that, and everybody's different, but I totally suggest a media plan. Um, and the last thing that I think is the most important is defining, redefining, identifying your values. What are you here for? How do you want to show up in this world? How do you want to show up today? How do you want to show up in your family and with your friends and as a citizen, as a human being? What does that look like? I find that when we can put meaning to what we're doing and our actions and be driven by our values, that it helps us know how to take the next step forward. It helps us know what to get involved in, what to not be involved in, how much media to consume or not consume, what groups you want to be a part of. So I challenge you to do that. Write it all down, put it up on Post-it notes, talk with your friends and family about those values. Hopefully, this is all helpful. I know this is all hard. I believe fully we can get through all of this. And I think that's all. Thanks. Bye.